I'm outside the home of an incredible family. Sakina is the primary caregiver to her son, Yasin, who has a progressive neurological condition. That means he needs constant care. And Sakina's not alone. Over 8 million other Canadians devote their lives to caring for someone they love. Hi.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Sakina, thank you so much for inviting us into your beautiful home that you share with your beautiful family, including Yasin. Tell me about him.
Yasin is a 19-year-old teenager with lots of attitude, but he's got a condition called Friedreich's ataxia, FA for short, is the short form. He was diagnosed when he was 6 years old. He went from running to using a walker to using a wheelchair, and now basically he's in a power wheelchair. He's been, in the last few years, losing his vision as well. He's had multiple surgeries for scoliosis. He has issues with feeding or eating, as well as like slurred speech now. Other than that, he likes to do normal kid stuff. Before his surgeries, he wanted to go on every single roller coaster at Wonderland, which he did multiple times. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So Yasin has a clear idea of this condition and what will happen.
Yes, actually, cognitively, he's not affected by his condition. I still remember till this day when he came home from school one day and said, "Mommy, what does life shortening mean?" And he was about 7 or 8 years old. I just said to him, you know, it means that we don't know what to expect for your life, but we're gonna keep going and fight as much as we can to, you know, have you live as long as possible. And there's no cure for FA, but there's a lot of treatments in the pipeline.
What's one thing that would make your life easier? One thing. Yeah.
I think the biggest thing is just trying to have like more resources where caregivers are helped, but helped in a way that they can still be in charge. You want to be there, you want to be, you know, like I want to be a mom. I don't want to be a caregiver all the time, but sometimes there's no time for that because there's so much that's involved with caregiving that you can't just, you know, cuddle with your kid because you just have to stay on schedule.
And what would you like people looking in to understand about your life as a caregiver?
Well, it's not all bad. You know, I know people feel sorry, and that's not at all what we want. I mean, we want just to be normalized. And I know, like, even for Yasin, like, he always says he has no friends. He longs for company, and a lot of times that's all it is, having I guess people still show up. Like,
yeah, thank you so much for being so open and honest with us.
Thank you.
What a beautiful and powerful story. Thank you so much, Sakina and Yasin, for sharing your experience with us and also helping everyone watching to sort of better understand some of the challenges that family caregivers face.
Yeah, absolutely. According to Statistics Canada, an estimated 1 in 4 Canadians provides unpaid care to a chronically ill, impaired, or aging friend or loved one, and they need our support. So here to tell us more is the Executive Director of the Petro-Canada Caremakers Foundation, Layla Fence. Welcome to the show, Layla.
Thank you.
So, Layla, I just learned that a surprisingly high number of people providing caregiving across the country. I mean, the numbers are just, I think, bigger than maybe, certainly I imagine, and maybe most. So how does the Petro-Canada Caremakers Foundation actually help caregivers?
We do a couple of things. One of the first things that we do is raise awareness of the support that family caregivers need. So many people don't identify as a family caregiver. They think, oh, I'm just helping my child or I'm just helping my spouse. So they don't really understand that there are resources out there available to them. Until you identify as a family caregiver, you won't say, hey, I need some help. And so one of the things that we do as the Caremakers Foundation is we provide charitable grants to organizations on the ground who are providing the critical resources and supports that family caregivers caregivers like Sakina can avail themselves of. We also know that we're not the experts in this space, so we're working with provincial organizations and other organizations across the country to really develop those resources that families like Sakina can make use of.
So important. I think most people associate and know Petro-Canada as an energy company. So why was it important for the organization to create a foundation specifically for caregivers?
Absolutely. So we connected with Canadians across the country and we did a lot of listening, a lot of conversations. This was an issue that just kept coming up over and over again. People would share their personal stories and we said, hey, there's something here. There's 8 million family caregivers across the country. We need to help these people because they don't have the help that they need right now.
Yeah, 8 million. I mean, and actually, here's another number. 3/4 of Canadian caregivers are also employees, and many of them are raising families of their own, so they're juggling multiple competing roles. Do you think they're getting enough support?
I don't think they're getting enough support. And so we know that on average, caregivers do 19 hours on top of everything else they do in a week. So that's like having a whole other part-time job. They're trying to manage their own lives. They're trying to take care of their own families. They just don't have enough time. And so raising awareness of what they're going through is really important to us. That's why we launched our public service campaign, 24 Hours of Care, which features Sakina, so that people can really understand what it means to be a family caregiver.
And caregiving is something you know a lot about. Not only are you clearly doing this for your work, but you're supporting a caregiver as well.
My mom is taking care of my father who has dementia. She's been looking after him for about 5 years now. It's so hard. And my mom, like many caregivers, she won't put up her hand and say, I need a hand. They just try to do everything on their own. So it's really, really challenging for people in this situation.
So then, like, what advice have you learned that, you know, I'm going to give this advice to caregivers, you know, because not only of your work, but you have personal connection as well?
I think the most important thing is for family caregivers to say, hey, I need a hand. Don't be stoic. Don't say I can do it all on my own. And for people who maybe have a caregiver in their network, offer a lending hand, and you can be really specific about it as well. You don't need to say, how can I help you? You can say, hey, can I do the laundry for you on Saturday? So that once you have something specific that you're offering, people, it's easier for them to say yes. So it's just so important to ask for help and to offer help if you know somebody in that situation.
I love that, something specific.
great.
Yeah. Layla, thank you so much for joining us
you.
today.
Thank you.
This important topic. I also want to thank Petro-Canada Caremakers Foundation for supporting caregivers. I think that's so wonderful.
Yeah,
Thank you
thanks.
again. Thank you. Everyone watching, we're going to be right back. Don't go anywhere.
Hey there! Wasn't that great? Do you know where you can find some equally good content? Our YouTube page. It's filled with discussions, debates, and some laughs. Head there now, like and subscribe.